Jaden Ivey returned and looked incredible, and the Pistons win their 12th game in a row. We'll recap the Pistons vs Bucks game in just a moment. Welcome back to the Piston Jack YouTube channel. On today's video, we are talking about the Pistons' 14th win of the season, their 12th in a row. This time, they take down the Bucks in Milwaukee, 129-116, in a game they led by as many as 27 or 28 points and pretty much controlled from start to finish, particularly from the second quarter onwards. Plenty of storylines as per usual with this team, but this is the team's 14th win of the year, and we only have to go back to 2 years ago or a season and a half ago where this team only won 14 games for the entire year. So that's a stat for you. It is the 12th win in a row for the team, their most since the 1989-1990 season, which is when the last time they won 12 games. And we are slowly creeping up on the 15 consecutive wins record for the franchise, which they could hit later this week. But just an outstanding game for the most part. The Bucks kept draining threes. We spoke about that in the preview. Like, that's what they do. That's how they stay in games, especially without Giannis. They have a lot of shooters. If anything, the 13-point margin's probably a little bit flattering towards the Bucks. Like, the Pistons certainly took the gas off the pedal a little bit. But at the same time, like, they just drain three after three after three. It's all the Bucks do. So the Pistons built a huge lead, and the Bucks ate into it a little bit. But honestly, just from start to finish, this game was kind of a pretty relaxed one. And I think we're going to have to start with Jaden Ivey. It wasn't only 3 or 4 days ago, we weren't even sure when he was going to be back. We had a feeling once we saw him assigned to the Cruise maybe 4 or 5 days ago that it could be near. And I still don't think up until the past 24 hours anyone thought he was going to play tonight. But he checked in the game towards the end of the first quarter, and he just, like, apart from the first couple of minutes where he kind of missed the defensive assignment, him and Stu, he didn't call out the switch, and JB called a timeout. Apart from that, which is to be very expected for a guy who's only played like 10 preseason minutes since January 1st, he looked on point. He only played 15 minutes off the bench, but he was 4 of 6 from the field, had 10 points, had 1 turnover, but then had 2 assists, 1 steal, was 1 of 3 from deep, got to the line, had an awesome pull-up mid-range where he kind of danced on Cole Anthony, of all people, shook him, got a step back on the baseline. It was nothing but net. And his first bucket was in transition, a layup over Cole Anthony. And for those that don't recall, Cole Anthony is the player from the Magic who broke Jaden's leg earlier this year. So kind of crazy. Those two went head-to-head basically immediately in Jaden's first NBA game back. But I think he's the big story out of tonight's game, just to see him back out there and look so comfortable. And I thought he did a really good job on both the assists of, like, penetrating the paint with his first step, kicking it out. He found Karis LeVert for a key 4-point play in the third quarter when the Bucks were making a run. And I just thought he looked in control for the most part. I think one of the things, like, when, like, people have critiqued Jaden for is his turnovers, and that can come when he's really forcing stuff and trying to force jump passes and jumping without a plan. But so far, he just looked really in control. He didn't try and do too much at all, which sometimes players who have the type of talent and skill that Jaden's flashed so far in his early career, like, they can come back and be a bit rushed where, yeah, outside like the first minute or two, like, I just thought this is a guy that you would not think has missed a lot of basketball, and it's just going to be even more exciting to see him continue to get more minutes. And that kind of takes me to, before we get to some other players, I thought tonight the Pistons coaching staff, they kind of didn't really know what to do with their rotation. Like, they obviously had a plan, but it felt like the entire roster outside of Chaz Lanier played in the first half. Obviously, they've been using 9 to 10 players without Ivy and Tobias. Guys like Javonte Green, who've been exceptional. Dennis Jenkins has just emerged out of nowhere seemingly and become a mainstay in the rotation. So they're still trying to play those two, as well as bring back Tobias, bring back Jaden, have Paul Reed try and get some minutes. And that was kind of the only thing I've thought through this team off tonight was the amount of players and the rotation being a bit different. But in the second half, they figured it out. And obviously some players got in towards the end of the game when the game was over in junk time. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because Javonte Green, like, if I read out my rotation, like I did it on our last Pistons Jack Daily episode, like Javonte is kind of the 11th man. I have in my 10-man rotation when this team's healthy, Cade, Ivey, Ausar, Tobias, JD. Then off the bench, you have Dennis, who I think is definitely the backup point guard, Karis LeVert. You have Ron Holland. You have Isaiah Stewart, obviously. Maybe Javon, and I think I said Ron and Javonte. There's just a lot of players here, and it's going to be interesting to see how they mix and match it all together. But yeah, the Bucks without Giannis tonight, and the Pistons did what they were meant to do. And then I think we'll start with the other returning player, Tobias Harris, 18 points. I wasn't even sure if he missed a shot tonight. 7 of 9, hit 3 threes. I think they're all in the corners. And you just kind of see like the value of having him back. Like just a guy, you can when he's hitting those corner threes, he's got such a smooth release. He got on the boards, had 4 assists. He never really turns it over. Team high plus 25. Just so good to have him back. And for an older player, like to see him have really no rust at all. Like I said, he did all of that in only 23 minutes. And just awesome to have him back out there. Have to go to Cade Cunningham now. 29 points, 10 assists. 6th game in a row of 25 points and 10 assists. I believe that's the 5th longest active streak in NBA history since the merger, they were saying, in the late 70s. I believe Cade has 6 in a row. On top of him is Trae Young, who has 7. That was a couple of years ago. Luka Doncic did so a couple of years ago as well with 8. And then Michael Jordan has the record with 10 in a row. So Cade could get there easily with the way he's playing. I thought he played in control for the most part. Had a bit of a weird stretch, I want to say, towards the end of the third quarter. He took some ill-advised shots, but overall, like, he just continues to move like one of the best players in the NBA. Nice to see him knock down some pull-up threes. I feel like he's still turning them down sometimes, but he's going to get his confidence back there. I'm still not worried about his three-point shot. 3 of 6 tonight. 6 free throw attempts. Thought he could have had a couple more, but yeah, he just continues to be a superstar. And then his running mate, Jalen Duren. JD's rotation out of everyone's kind of got mixed up the most, I felt, in the second quarter. I feel like they held him out for a bit too long. They tried to put B-Ball Paul in there to start during the second instead of taking Stu out straight for JD. But I can see this trying to still get everyone minutes who's been playing so well. But JD only played 27 minutes tonight, but had 19 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Like, him off the dribble. And like, Miles Turner is a player that's bothered him in the past. And I just thought JD just dominated him, at least on offense. Turner got going from beyond the arc a couple of times, but I don't think that JD was defending him on those. But yeah, really solid game from a guy who should be an all-star if he can keep up this play. And yeah, continues to get to the line a lot. 8 free throw attempts tonight. Only hit 5. You probably want to see him at least hit 1 more of those. But just such a weapon for him to be able to get to the line so much. It just opens up a lot more easy opportunities for this offense. A lot of key contributors tonight. Duncan Robinson. I don't know if I've spoken enough about how exceptional he's been. 5 of 6 from 3 tonight. Had it going early. Barely touched rim, I felt. And I'm like, Malik Beasley was incredible last year, and Duncan still has to do a fair bit across the rest of the season to replicate and get close to those 3-point shooting numbers that Malik did last year. But Duncan is just fit this team incredibly. Like, I love, he just seems like a real good culture fit with the team. I'm loving the defensive kind of effort he gives. He's clearly going to get picked on all the time. That's just what teams will do. But I think his effort's awesome. And every game, I feel like he's getting more and more confident with his shot. Coming off curls, coming off handoffs, taking movement threes. He's just he gets such good elevation on his jumper. Like, even if there's someone in front of him, because he's 6'7", 6'8", just rises up. And he's shooting it with so much confidence. Always good for a couple of steals or a block and a steal. He's like got active hands, which I think go a long way. And always moves the ball really well. Had a couple of assists. Even if he's not getting a reward on the stat sheet, I feel like he just provides so much flow to this offense. Oh, who else? I mean, Isaiah Stewart hit a 3, had his usual 3 blocks. Weird foul got called on him against Jericho Sims in the 4th, which I didn't really understand, but meant nothing. I just thought that was his reputation that earned him that foul. But he's just been doing his thing off the bench, 3 or 4 from the field. I feel like the Pistons they shot 63% tonight. It felt like whenever they didn't turn it over, which they controlled the ball pretty well, they were just making shots. Free throws, 15 to 24s. Probably want to see that a bit higher, but man, that Dennis Jenkins as well. A couple more players here, and we'll wrap this one up. But Dennis Jenkins as well was awesome in the first half. Role clearly a lot more diminished than what he's been used to over the past 6, but in 13 minutes didn't miss a shot, 7 points, 3 assists, 0 turnovers? Let me double check. He had 3 turnovers, so that's a bit unusual for him. But just his shot making, like catch and shoot threes, I feel like they're going in every time. And then he's got this really nice step back in the mid range, which no one else on the team really has apart from Cade. We saw Ivy get to it tonight. That is a shot JI's been good at in the past. But Dennis just off the dribble provides so much as a shooter and had an excellent assist to break the Bucks zone to Stu, who was down the dunker spot in the first half. Which like he just threw this pass from a standstill through the entire zone, which it looked kind of like a simple pass on the replay, but you got to throw that pass on point to miss all the Bucks' arms of the zone. And really good playmaker and exceptional shot creator. Last 2 guys we'll mention, Ron Holland and Javonte Green. They're kind of like this wrecking crew for the Pistons now off the bench, where they're so good at anticipating the ball in air. When the ball's in midair and the opponent's trying to throw it into like the post, Javonte and Ron are so good at anticipating that and either swiping it midair or as soon as the guy posting out catches it, like swiping down and getting a steal. Ron tonight, 4 points, couple of steals, couple of rebounds and assists. I thought he played really within himself, and Ron's been in a bit of like a down patch, I'll say, on offense. And tonight, all I wanted to see from him is just play exceptional defense and let your offense come from that. And I think that kind of came to the forefront in the 3rd quarter, I want to say, where one of the Pistons missed a layup. I think Ryan Rollins grabbed the rebound, but then Ron just stripped it straight from him, goes straight back up for 2. And he missed a couple of threes, which the corner 3 ball has disappeared a little bit, but I still want to see him taking them. For the most part, they look like they're going in. So I thought Ron was really good tonight, and defensively, one of his better games that I've seen this season for sure. And then Javonte, a lot of the similar stuff. Played a bigger role in the first half, but 7 points in 12 minutes, a rebound. His energy is exceptional, and his defense is fantastic. Like to have Javonte, Ron, and Ausar. I didn't even really mention Ausar tonight, but to have those 3 on the perimeter defending, they can all rebound, they can all stay in front of their man, and they all just try exceptionally hard. Ausar did a really good job on Ryan Rollins in the first half. And overall, I feel like Rollins, he got going in the second half a little bit, especially in the 4th quarter with Ausar defending him. But every shot was tough. He's a really good player. And him and Ausar were going. Ausar was really agitating him. He gave away an offensive foul where it looked like an elbow to the face. Apparently, it was a triceps to the face. And then they kind of had a push and shove early in the 3rd. So, awesome game. Awesome team performance led by Cade. Amazing to have JI back. But those are my key takeaways. Would love to hear yours. We have a big week of Pistons hoops coming up. They have 4 games this week, 2 NBA Cup games. If the Pistons win out these games, not only will they break the franchise record for the winning streak, they'll be at 16, they will have gone the whole month of November without a loss. 2 years after not winning a game in November, which is crazy. But we're still a little bit off from that, but just something to keep an eye on this week. But thank you so much for watching, and as always, go Pistons.